Hey, everybody, and welcome to Generally Speaking, the podcast that bridges the world between pop culture and personal development. I am your host, Jennifer Snook, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. I hope everything has been going well in your world. Here is what's been going on in mine. Generally speaking, of course. So, you guys, it's very rare that you get a gift like I got this last week. And it has basically stopped me in my tracks. My ex-husband had all of our old movies, from those old little tapes that we took of the kids 100 years ago, had them all remastered and put on new film, basically, or however they do this process. But I am watching video of I can't talk about this. This thing has had me rattled all week because it has just been that emotional. So I'm just going to say this. If you guys have ever thought about taking your old memories and, taking them out of that box and putting them onto a new form of technology that allows you to look at them with fresh eyes and allows it to be easily accessible. I mean, this was just a link, you guys. We got sent a link and we were just ruined, all of us. I mean, we were it was something. We were just, all of us, just wrecks. So if you can, run, don't walk, and get all of those old videotapes, all of those old Super 8 tapes, all of those old memories, save them, you guys, because when you get to look back on them, truthfully, it doesn't get any more heartwarming. And every time I've opened my mouth this week to talk about this, I get emotional because it has been, so beautiful to relive that and to hear the baby voices of my now big girls. Oh, what a dream. Anyway, very much, you guys, unlike what happened to us at the beach on Sunday. So I have been working my ass off, but I promised Mike and my new little puppy that we would go to the beach on Sunday. And so we did. And I found a dog-friendly beach. And there's only one locally. It's just north of Malibu. And you have to walk down a trestle to get there. And it's cute, but it's small. So we went there on Sunday morning. And we saw this. We were like the first ones there. We saw a family pull up just as we were starting to walk down. They had 3 dogs with them. There were 2 people. They had 4 or 5 kids, and 3 dogs, right? So they were totally outnumbered. So, but when we were in the parking lot, the guy said, "Oh, they're friendly. They came sniffing after Albie." And he was like, "Oh, they're friendly." And I said, "Okay, good, great." And so when we got down to the beach, we had only like 5 minutes with Albie, and it was the best 5 minutes. It was so cute, you guys. He was just loving it. It was a commercial. He was running through the water. He was having the time of his life. And then we saw this family coming down with these 3 dogs, and we said we were going to play it by ear with Albie and these other dogs to see how it went. Well, I'm telling you, they weren't together for more than 30 seconds when my Albie is screaming. He can't walk. They totally dogpiled on him. And so after that first 5 minutes of bliss, we were out of there and we had to leave because poor Albie couldn't walk and he was screaming literally at the top of his lungs. Luckily, nothing is broken. It was all just strained muscles and soft tissue damage. Thank God he's a puppy, they're flexible, but he's still limping. It's Thursday. I'm recording this on Thursday and he's still limping, my poor little guy, but he is, his spirits are back and he's feeling good again. But that's exactly why I've never liked to take my dogs. They love the beach so much and they love other dogs so much, but is it worth it? I mean, because boom, it only takes a second and you're at the vet and it's just, I mean, that very fun Sunday got cut so very short and I was so sad about it. But you know what else I'm thinking about, you guys? The beach reminded me of the fact that I'm actually working at a salon, you guys. It makes it very difficult to not want to experiment with your hair. So I'm thinking about for summer speaking of the beach, doing like a bleach blonde thing, but I think if I decide to do it, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm just thinking about it. I might not do it. I've thought about it 100 times, but I'm thinking I might just go blonde. Blonde for the summer. Um, anyway, what else is happening? Oh gosh. Here's what else is happening. I'm already having to start thinking about Mother's Day, right? What is going to happen for Mother's Day? So I have my three kids strewn across the country now. My mom is in the Bay, and I'm dealing with this strained family situation with my sister, who is kind of on her own little island right now. And, now that Mother's Day is coming up, do you try to bridge that? Do you try to loop her in, or do you not? And do you just let her just do her own thing? And I think that's kind of where we're at right now with that. And I don't think I'm going to go to the Bay for Mother's Day because I'm going to be with the rest of my family in Austin at the end of May. Unfortunately, my sister won't be there because she's just, you know, I was on an island at one point, and I get that. And that is why I haven't put a lot of pressure on my sister, because I feel like everybody kind of has to grow through their own shit. You can't pull them kicking and screaming over to where you wish they were. They have to go through that process on their own, unfortunately, because I really wish I could speed that up. Because the truth is, none of us know how much longer we have on this earth. And when I look back on those tapes that I was just telling you guys about, you're really reminded of that. I mean, just how fast time flies. So it's sad. So try to be present with your people. Try to be present with your people. April is also Sjogren's Awareness Month, everybody. If you don't know what Sjogren's is, it is the autoimmune disease that changed the course of my life. Sjogren's primarily attacks your lacrimal and your saliva glands. So all of the juicy fluids that your eyes float in, that bring saliva to you, that basically create all the juiciness, it all dries up, and basically your body becomes like the Sahara. And so that's the way it is. You deal with a myriad of symptoms, all of them not fun. I mean, there's there's swelling everywhere. There's brain swelling, there's eye swelling. You can see my eyes are super red right now. They're always red, they're always swollen, and it's a real pain in the ass. So if you don't know about Sjogren's, get familiar, because I didn't know anything about it until I had to get very, very familiar. So anyway, I also am going to be doing a pod specifically on Sjogren's and just how it really affects the quality of somebody's life. So stay tuned for that, everybody, because it is brutal. And the truth is it's so brutal that if I hadn't gone through the spiritual awakening and my spiritual orgasm that kind of broadened my bandwidth, I don't know how I would deal with what I deal with on a daily basis. The old me would not have had the patience with all of this that I have. And honestly, I'm so grateful for that, just in how it relates to this disease, how it relates to everything in my life. That spiritual orgasm saved my life in a million different ways. Little did I know that it was also going to allow me the ability to deal with this disease that I deal with on a daily basis. Anyway, everybody, that is what's going on in my world. Here is what's happening in the world of reality. Okay, you guys, BravoCon is off. And I don't want to blame anybody, but you kind of have to blame the fact that everything is so fractured right now. And it's kind of in alignment with Andy coming out this week saying that the New Jersey franchise is kind of at a crossroads, and that it just can't sustain the way that it's been, because you can't have a BravoCon when your teams are also fractured, right? They're basically teams, and you bring in the team to represent the bigger picture. And if every team is fractured, I mean, It's just not the same. So I get it. I think it all makes sense. And I think everybody needs to wake up. BravoCon is off, and they're going to use that time in between, in between now and when they will have the next BravoCon to get shit straight. And by getting shit straight, that means ironing out, the rough spots in the franchises that are just so fractured, like Potomac, like New York, and we'll see about Orange County. Beverly Hills is in a weird place. Everybody is a little bit in a weird place right now. And so it makes sense to me that they're calling that off. Also, you guys, did you hear the Caroline and Brandi situation has really come to light in the last week or so? An executive producer named Lisa Shannon, just this week, in court documents said that, and I quote, let me just read this to you because I don't want to get it wrong. In new court documents filed Tuesday, the show's executive producer did not claim that an incident occurred between Manzo and Glanville, but rather that Manzo allegedly told the production team that she did not want to stop filming. Quote, after the incident between Manzo and Glanville on January 24th, 2023, Manzo disclosed her childhood trauma to a member of the production staff who relayed this information to me. The information was not known to production, Shannon claims. Manzo revealed to us for the first time that she suffered sexual trauma as a child and that Glanville's actions that evening had triggered memories of that childhood trauma. She told us that she did not feel sexually violated, but that she felt disrespected by Glanville. Our primary concern at that point was making sure that Manzo felt safe, Shannon claims. She told us that she did feel safe, that she wanted to continue to film, and that she did not want Glanville to be sent home. Shannon then said that the production took steps to ensure that Manzo was not left alone with Glanville in the days that followed, and that they, quote, promptly took several actions to make Manzo feel safe, comfortable, and supported, regardless of the impact that it had on the show. According to Shannon, Glanville was sent to a different hotel from the rest of the cast and did not stay with the other cast members for the remainder of the production. Shannon claims that Manzo addressed the situation with the other cast members the next day, and that they all told Manzo that they interpreted the situation differently than she did and didn't realize Manzo had felt uncomfortable at the time. She goes on to say that, quote, that evening, a group of the other castmates sent a group text message to the rest of the cast, including Manzo, saying that they were planning on visiting Glanville at her hotel. Manzo expressed that she was extremely offended by this text and the fact that the other cast members wanted to check on Glanville, particularly after the conversation that they had just had with Manzo. As a result, she decided to leave the production early and fly home. Shannon goes on to say, I understand that in her complaint, Mando objects to the fact that production continued to film her in the days following the incident with Glanville. To my knowledge, the only time when Manzo asked not to be filmed was immediately after she received the group text regarding the other cast members' plan to visit Glanville. At the time, she asked the production crew not to film her, and we honored that request. End quote. So, seems to me that Brandi is just bringing to light something that Caroline has had buried for a really long time. And the fact that Caroline had all this stuff buried is not Brandi's fault. It's just not. And I honestly feel so sorry. I mean, I'm sorry that that happened to Caroline, but I'm really sorry about what happened to Brandi. I mean, because of it. I mean, Caroline definitely should not be blaming Brandi, and we need to be able to distinguish what happened to Caroline at that time and what Brandi did. I mean, because they are two very separate things. Also, I want to say a very special condolence to Lori Peterson. Her son Josh Waring died. If you remember them from The Real Housewives of Orange County many, many years ago, he's been struggling for so many years. He died on Easter Sunday, and we are all so sorry and sending our condolences to Lori. So So sorry. Josh was a very sweet kid. Troubled, but very, very sweet. On a brighter note, congratulations to Lala. She's having another girl. I think that is amazing. Ocean's going to be a big sister, and I think that's amazing. I saw that pink cake, and I was so excited for her. All right, everybody, it is time for our reality check, and we are starting out in Potomac. Actually, we are not going to start out in Potomac, guys. We are going to start out with Vanderpump Rules. So let's do that. We are going to get our Christy on the line for that. So hold on, everybody. Let's get Christy on the line. Here she is. Here's my girl. Oh, I love your background, boo.
Do you? I've been going into so many rooms going, where am I sitting?
One love, baby. I am here for it.
Yeah. So today's this. I need to think of a better place.
Okay. So VPR. Castrated and in a corner. Did you see that? Is literally, that was like one of the first sentences of the whole show. That is how Brock described what's happening to Sandoval. Look at him. He's castrated in a corner. And I swear to God, honestly, I didn't really disagree. I just feel like the poor guy's at such a lose-lose. So the show opens on the beach, those two bickering at each other, and then Schwartz takes Sandoval off. And he's like,
to the bar.
Exit stage right. So then they go and they find that table of women at the bar.
Women? You mean?
Okay, girls.
Yeah.
I mean, how old do you think they were?
20.
24?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, so they go over, so they're over there with the girls, buying drinks, la la la, and then Katie rolls up. But before Katie rolls up, the Tori rolls up, and Tori is a whirlwind in her own right.
Yeah, and a girl herself.
Yeah, I mean, she honestly looked younger than all the other ones at that table.
Yeah,
I mean, she's hardly legal, right?
Yeah, and she's there to be, she wants to be on a date with Tom
Both
Schwartz.
of them. With both of them.
Well, I feel like, okay, so she wants to be with Tom Schwartz, and then Katie, I think Katie's doing it to cock block him.
Katie is totally doing it to cock block him. Katie is absolutely doing it to cock block him because that's her whole life still is built around Tom. Even if it's, I mean, it's everything. And it's the way even she positions everything about her life. Do you know what I found out? Speaking of Katie, what I found out do you know that her old podcast was called, hold on, I wrote it down. I couldn't believe it. You're Gonna Love Me. You're Gonna Love Me. She used to have a podcast, her own podcast. Now she has,
there it is.
She has a new one. Now she has one, You're Gonna Love Me. This poor girl, I think what happened to Katie is that I think her own development got arrested by whatever that accident is that she was in. You know what I mean? I think that really kind of fucked with her own self-image. I don't know the details around that, but I know that must have been traumatic for her. And I think she needs to heal that part in herself because, like I say all the time, until you heal the wound will continue to win. And Katie's wound wins every time because she's just a bitch.
No other way.
She's a bitch at every turn. And it's all rooted from this place that she's constantly looking for validation or someone, you know what I mean? She's purchased herself on this pedestal, on this self-righteous pedestal. And it's only to keep herself feeling safe. She feels safe that way. That way she's like, you know, I'm the righteous one. It's just this, it's more than I can take. But I try to have fucking patience for it because I know it's rooted in her own brokenness.
Right.
But it doesn't make her fun to watch. I'm sure it doesn't make her fun to be around.
Snooze fest. And then, so she takes that, she wants to date this young girl because Tom. Give me a break.
I mean, give me a break.
And did you see the date that she took her on?
I did.
Not that that's not fun, but it wasn't fun to watch.
I know. And then back to the beach. Ariana said on the beach, I've never done anything to him. Like, I don't know what anything is. I've never done anything to him. What, like fucked around on him? Is she trying to like equate that? Like stuff like that can happen. You don't have to do anything. Like, I think Tom was dying a slow death. And honestly, I think she was dying a slow death within that relationship. That relationship was dead 100 years ago. She wasn't happy in that relationship. Neither one of them were happy in that relationship. I used to watch that and think, this is already over, and I'm just gonna, it's like a, watching a slow car crash or something. I didn't know that it was gonna end with Rachel or Raquel or whatever, but I knew that it was over.
Yeah. Well, I love her yelling at him and I love her giving it to him. I think he deserves it all. He was a fucker.
You don't think she was a fucker? You don't think she was a fucker?
No.
You don't think that, you don't see what a passive aggressive kind of bitch she is? No, I mean, you don't see that?
You mean are you talking about
I'm talking about like even now, and like even the way her own brother has come out and talked about the fact that she gives one face, but then I guess is like making all kinds of like underhanded mean comments to his fiance and just like behind the scenes. And that's what Tom says, that like behind the scenes, she's a fully different person. And I can kind of see that in her. But I know you love her.
I mean, she's got to get it out. She's getting it out.
She does have to get it out. And you're right.
Brock and his bullshit. You don't have any room to judge Ariana on
Actually, I don't think he's judging. I don't think it's judging. I think he is speaking from a place of personal experience.
Where he wants it to be done.
Well, also, I think he understands when you go through shit, people think, here's the fact about fucking life. We don't learn shit until we fuck up. The lessons come after the fuck ups. You know what I mean?
Right.
You do stuff and then you learn. You don't like.
He came from Australia with his wife.
That's my point. He has his own personal experience with that.
Yeah, so true.
He's speaking from a place of experience. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, fuck you. You abandoned people. And like, yeah, that's why I can give you this insight, and maybe it should mean more than the next guy. I don't see why people are hating on Brock for giving advice on something that he's fucking lived through.
Yeah, and I do love Brock. I do. I think he's so great at the show. He's a great dad. He's handsome.
I think the show needed him, and I think that Sheena should be thanking her fucking lucky stars for him every single day.
Yeah.
And also, I've got this whole outline here that goes through the show, but now while we're just talking about it, there's another one. I love Sheena, but that girl needs to love herself. She is so fucking desperado, always trying to make sure everyone is okay with her. Here's a thought, Sheena. Who fucking cares? How about you just root yourself in what you know is true and stop worrying about what everyone else thinks, how everyone else perceives you. It's exhausting. Yeah. And you can see that she's getting exhausted. And I think we all kind of go through that in life, where we spend a portion of our life trying to be that person that pleases everyone because you want everyone to like you. And then you realize all that really matters is that I like myself, and the rest of you, if you don't, can fall off. You can, the rest of you can fall off and fuck off, quite frankly.
Right.
So I'm really praying that sweet little Sheena gets to that place sooner rather than later. And I think that that's kind of what Brock is kind of, you know what I mean, guiding her to. And I think that
he's great. Did you watch him on Watch What Happens the other night?
I did. And did you see, everybody's giving him shit for saying that whatever he said about Katie, like they were talking about Katie, and he basically was boiling it down, saying that Katie's real issue is Katie. And it truly is that is exactly why she wants to keep. Do you see what she did when the girls went out? When the girls went out for that girls' night out, and fucking Lala said that she went for wieners with Joe. Remember when Lala said, Katie talked about her date with Tori, and then Lala talked about her going out for wieners with Joe.
Her meeting
and
with
she
Joe.
Looked at her, why why would you do that? And why didn't you tell me? And you're just telling me, like, her fury about that. And it's a testament to the fact that it's funny. She likes to call everyone else a narcissist, and God knows I hate that word.
Yeah.
But true narcissists are just the most wounded people who are so stuck in their wounds and are just so paralyzed by them that they try to manipulate the outside world in a way that keeps them in their comfort zone. This is me. This is my wound. I'm comfortable in it. And that's Katie. And Katie is comfortable in her wound. And that's why she is the perpetual victim. That's why everyone else is the one that fucks up. She justifies everything that she does. That poor girl just needs to love herself. Because truthfully, she is the narcissist and she is the master manipulator with all this guilt and, oh, you shouldn't, and the way she looks down her nose at people. It must be exhausting to be Katie.
Yeah, and for poor Tom, not poor Tom, but Tom's in it too. He's his own little poor me.
Well,
I mean,
truthfully, that's why everybody, like Lala said to Joe at that wiener date, you and Tom are just like such an odd couple. She was basically saying, you know what I mean? You and Tom are so, but I think the two of them are so much more compatible than him and Katie ever were.
Yeah, she's so light. She is so light. She's funny.
And that's exactly what he needed. That's exactly.
Yeah.
And what about the fact that he even says, we could probably live the rest of our lives together. He knows it.
I know, but he can't. He's not taking that one step. Poor thing.
But Joe. He can, and that's okay because Tom.
It's Tom for now. It's his.
He needs to find his footing a little bit. I mean, because the Katie of it all, honestly, was a lot. What about the fact that we found out that that what's James's girl's name?
Allie Bally.
Allie. What about the fact that we found out that Allie is an only child? Has anything surprised you less? When she goes, I'm an only child. I'm like,
I'm the oldest, and you and I grew up in a house full of kids.
I mean,
the oldest of four, both you and I.
I know, and I'm telling you, I've never seen only child vibes more than she's like the poster child of the only child, right? Hilarious. And then we see. Okay, let's see. Where are we? We learned. Oh yeah, we did see Ariana finally shed a few tears. And then James and the girls go to Topgolf to knock some balls around.
Yeah.
and that's where Katie told everybody that she went out with Tori last night, and Tom's going out with her tonight. And did you see James? James is like,
he said exactly what I was thinking. Like, who are these two people with this younger girl? It's just creepy. It's creepy vibes.
It's creepola.
Yeah.
It truthfully is. It is.
They are creepy. I feel like she's young. I don't know, but yeah.
But also, I felt like she was the aggressor. She is young, and I think there is a whole younger like group of people that are strategizing about how to. Well, apparently she's been friends with Sheena for a lot of years.
Yeah.
So she has an in.
Right. So
and Sheena's probably coaching her. Sheena's probably coaching her.
She was aggressive with Tom. You're right, because she said, "When are we going on a date? I don't want fire emojis." And then she's telling Katie, "I want to kiss you."
I want to kiss you. And then kisses her. And then Katie kisses her and pulls away and goes, I like it.
Yeah.
Katie is too much for me. I mean, I'm not saying that she's wrong. I'm just saying that she's too much for me. Then we see Lala begin the process of getting pregnant when her and Sheena go see the dude at the cryo bank. Did you see that?
Oh, the sperm man.
At the sperm bank. They call it a cryo bank, but it's really a sperm bank.
Yeah, he was funny.
That was cute. It's kind of interesting to see that process. If you've never been through it, why the hell would you know how it happens?
Right.
You know what I mean? But I could kind of see how that would be fun to just kind of dry run through. Like if you were going to do that, who would you pick? You know what I mean? Yeah. If I got to like plan my family like that.
Well, I had a friend, once we got into college, he would donate his sperm because he got paid.
Really?
Yeah, I'll tell you who it is after. You know him.
I know him. Oh my God. So you're telling me there's probably a bunch of these little
Yeah,
guys?
yeah.
A
And
good thing
because
you didn't say it.
Lala's her question was, well, when people come to donate sperm, are they doing it out of the goodness of their heart to help people like me, or are
Right.
they doing it like,
Right.
yeah, donate to get money? So, and he goes, oh, it's mostly for people that want to help people like you.
Except
So
our friend.
right. So yeah, so now
How much did they pay?
I don't remember. That was when we were in college.
That's interesting. I mean, I wonder what, like,
Yeah.
I mean, apparently enough to pay the electricity bill in
Well,
1992.
no, back then it was probably to buy Keystone or some 12 pack of beer.
By Keystones. That's hilarious. Lala says when they're at that girls' night, when Katie went crazy, it was just a conversation. Schwartz gave her gave her my number. It was no big deal. And then Katie says, it just, what'd she say? It doesn't make sense. And Lala says, my life doesn't need to make sense to you. And
Right.
I'm telling you, it filled me with such joy when she said that I couldn't see straight. My life doesn't need to make sense to you, and a fucking man. No, it doesn't.
Back off, bitch.
Back the fuck off. Um, and then after that, and then she tells her it doesn't feel consistent. It doesn't feel consistent. But that's just again, Katie fucking, that's her micro manipulating everybody. Now, so now I don't want her to think I'm not consistent, so I can't change my feelings. I can't grow. I can't progress. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nothing can change. That way Katie can keep feeling safe and perched on her very sanctimonious pedestal.
And Sheena stuck up for Lala and said she has been.
Thank God. And I'm telling you something, I thank Brock for that because she would have folded. Before Brock, she would have folded. All she ever did was fold.
And Joe said that she was meeting with Lala because she thinks that that would be her end.
Oh,
also.
yes, she did. She did. She said that's her golden ticket to a happily ever after with Schwartzy.
Yeah. So
and also everybody's giving that girl so much shit. Like the way even Lala hit her up and said, "What did you know about that relationship?" Here's the fact. That girl is not going to be more fucking loyal to Ariana than she is to Tom Schwartz. She's balls to the wall, head over heels in love with that dude. She's not going to burn off his best friend.
No, and maybe she didn't even know. Maybe she thought they were broken up because of the way he was acting. And it's not her point to go to Ariana to say, hey,
right.
Anything.
Right. Imagine if she had done that. Imagine if she's trying to build this relationship with Schwartz and be everything that he wants her to be. And then she goes and burns off what she knows. Excuse
me? Yeah, no.
That's going to really bode well for her, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, just same thing as in when Katie's saying to Sheena, why didn't you tell me you made out with Schwartz when you were in Las Vegas? Really? Because you hated me.
Also, I listened to an episode of her new podcast that she's doing with Dana.
Oh, yeah.
And she's just, it's all about being like, I can't remember what it's called, but unapologetic or something like that. And it's so funny. She wants everyone to dot the I's and cross the T's and apologize to her for breathing the wrong way. But suddenly now she doesn't want to apologize to anybody. Now she's just like, so she's that poor girl's a walking contradiction. She really is. So cruising on over to the Valley, or shall we say Capri.
Did Michelle say it? You know, no one's even talking about.
That's my point.
Say?
That's exactly it. Like the word racism comes up, but we don't really have any specifics. It's just a lot of hearsay, and I'm still like, who, what, when, where, why?
Yelling at Kristen.
Yeah, yelling at Kristen, and then Zach is apologizing to Michelle because he said that he did have a part in it and he did say something, and then Kristen eventually apologizes. So indeed, was there something said?
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard anyone actually cough up to doing anything other than just repeating what was said. So
only about the Republican thing. Nobody's talking about the other thing when she said something about gay laws don't protect children or something about the gay laws.
And Michelle starting this episode with I'm Mexican and Persian. I'm Mexican and Persian. And
did you hear about when she said how she got with Jesse?
The longest booty call of her life.
No wonder they're not. Yeah, that
I know.
I was like, what?
And what I thought was interesting was it's funny how you can see like people individually, right? Because you could see him when he was talking about the fact that she got heated at that dinner. He was fully like engaged in her and genuinely turned on. And I believe what he said. He loved it. He was like, if she did this a little more, we'd be in a totally different situation. And I kind of
in the bedroom, we'd have 5 kids.
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. And I kind of believed him. But she's probably looking for exactly the opposite.
Yeah, she doesn't.
And then, speaking of the opposite, you've got Jackson Brittany. What kind of a shit show is that happening?
That motherfucker. All he talks about, he just put her down this whole episode.
It's unbelievable.
Said, at this dinner, I thought we were here to just get drunk and I can talk shit about
my wife.
Oh God.
Talk shit about my wife.
And then when he was
and she said that they've had sex twice in the last year.
Yeah, poor. I'm so happy she's out of that house.
And what about the fact that he has the audacity to open his mouth in front of her mother and say, "Oh, well, I just didn't know that this bar was going to take up so much of my time, but it is." And I'm sitting there thinking, you knew absolutely how much time this bar was going to take.
Yeah, the mom is there for a month and you don't have one afternoon or night to take her out on a date.
And this is so horrible to say, but I would not be surprised if at any day now someone doesn't come forward and say, I've been having an affair with Jax for the last 6 months or however long, just because isn't having a bar that you need to be at all the time the ultimate cover? I got to be at the bar. I got to be at the bar.
Or the gym for that.
Right. And maybe he is at the bar part of the time, but the other part of the time, maybe not. I'm not saying it is. Let's hope. Let's hope it's not for Brittany's sake, so she doesn't have to try and rebuild from that. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Would you? Yeah. Would you really?
No, I thought you were going to say if someone comes out and says they're pregnant also, it's like, God.
Oh, well, same.
Stay out of the gene pool. Stay out of the gene pool.
Truthfully, I know this is horrible, but even the fact that they said that their son's speech regressed, I wouldn't be surprised if that regression wasn't correlated to the tension in the house.
To his surroundings and what?
To the surroundings.
I'm glad Brittany's out because she said Jack would not leave the house. She even offered to pay for the Airbnb and he wouldn't leave. He's such a piece of shit.
But isn't that so typical of him? He wants what he doesn't, what he can't have, but then when he has it, he doesn't want it.
Yeah.
He just poor guy. He just hasn't.
He's just good TV. He's just horrible and good TV. Him and Kristen.
Truth be told, it's true. If I was Brittany though, I'd be calling 1-800-DIVORCE as soon as possible. I mean,
sweet James, there aren't those things everywhere.
James, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And can I just tell you the funniest things about those bulletin boards are how his hairline changes in each one.
Oh,
his hairline is different. Some he'll be, and then all of a sudden you'll see that he has like new plugs or something, and he's up on looking.
Can we talk about Jesse's hair? Do you notice his hair? I think he sleeps in a headband or something because his hair.
I know.
Is not okay.
It's bizarre. Almost as bizarre as that jacket he chose to wear to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I laughed when Zach said the jacket he wears looks like it came from the 80s and he's in Miami about to snort a cocaine a mile long. And I thought, you are not wrong, boy.
That made me laugh.
That is not wrong. And then what about when but when Kristen and her dude, Luke, right? Kristen and Luke are out at their aphrodisiac lunch trying to,
Yes.
trying to get extra horny, I guess.
Right.
So that they could go back and make a baby.
Yeah.
And the fact that they asked Brittany and what's that guy's name?
Daniel? No. Mr.
The one that's married, the one that's married to the supermodel.
Yeah, I forget his name. Movie star.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far. Daniel? Danny?
I forget. But anyways.
Anyway, they go and they throw rose petals and light candles to try and set the mood right. For baby making.
Yeah.
And poor Brittany, even in that. Well, I wish Jax would do this for me. This is exactly what I wish Jax would do for me.
Yeah. No romantic bone in his body.
Poor little thing.
I know, but
I wish her and that sweet little son of hers would just get on a plane and go back to Kentucky.
Yeah.
For their own sanity. I'm sure she has to have some producer credit on the Valley. Let that, you know what I mean? Just sit there and collect your check. Stay away from Jax and his insanity.
No doubt. No.
Did you see Kristen come up and apologize to Michelle at the very end?
Yes.
And Michelle was just like, I'm going to need some time.
Yeah, like she told her. Yeah.
Which you have to appreciate.
Yeah.
Because if I mean, we still don't know exactly what was said, but if someone that called themselves your friend is saying shit like you're racist or anything that even alludes to that.
Right. Well, she's the only one, because the whole thing is Zach knew, Janet knew, and Jasmine knew, and nobody said a word. And Kristen found out, and then she blabbers.
Spilled the beans.
So that's why everybody's mad.
But who originated it?
Exactly.
I feel like the insinuation is Janet that Janet said it.
Yes. Was
right?
Told. Who even say it to? Was it Janet?
Maybe Janet was just deducing this and just said it. You know what I mean? Like just said it. This is what I think
about this gay law and babies. There was something in that, more than the Republican. Everyone's just talking about the Republican and racist. That's the racist thing.
Right.
The baby and the gay law. So it's that, but no one's talking about it. They're just saying the racist, but Michelle said it to somebody.
So that's that about that. But speaking of, did you hear that BravoCon is canceled this year?
I did. Why?
Well, I think the reason why it's fractured kind of runs in parallel to Andy coming out and making a statement about Real Housewives of New Jersey and the fact that it can't go on in its current form and with everybody so fractured in these two different camps and people not intermingling. I mean, that's not the show. I mean, because if that was the show, then you'd have Real Housewives of New Jersey A and B, and it's one show. And I think everyone is fractured. New Jersey is fractured. Potomac is fractured. They're the same way. You've got people not speaking to each other. So if people won't be on the same stage with each other and interact, it's probably like, I feel like Bravo's giving their kids a timeout. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's literally like, you guys are going to get your shit together or
we're done this year. Okay. Wow. I didn't know, but
or either that or sayonara, and we'll get a new crew in here of people that don't have all of this bad blood and can actually put on a good show.
Yeah. Oh,
So, which, I mean, that's a bummer, but at least, BravoCon will come back probably even bigger if they take a year off. Everyone will be like,
yeah.
What we do have coming up that I'm very excited about is New Jersey is about to start.
Yes.
New Jersey is about to start, and I'm going to tell you something. I am ready because that is my jam. Yeah. That freaking Louis is really on one with that whole his new job thing. Did you see that new? He's got a new job. He has a new job every few weeks. So he has a new job, and it has him based out here in LA a lot. And I just pray to God that I don't see that little
at the coffee shop, at the tanning salon.
At the tanning salon.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
I'm very excited.
He said there's a
She keeps saying,
brawl.
"Oh, the truth is going to come out. The truth is going to come out." The same way she says every single season, the truth is going to come out. And you know what truth we see every single season? The fact that the only problem is Teresa. Teresa is the bad seed, and that is sad but true. And we've all cheered for her for 100 years, hoping that she would come around. I did. I cheered for Teresa for so long, thinking, girl, you can do better. I had a little hope when she came out of prison, but then, you know.
The fake namaste.
The fake namaste of it all. Exactly.
Jesus,
It could,
right?
that is the ultimate, the fake namaste. She couldn't be less namaste.
Exactly.
It's just so funny. She sits there. If you listen, every time she opens her mouth, it is literally a contradiction. She speaks one thing and does absolutely the opposite.
Exactly.
Absolutely the opposite. And is so dense and so short-sighted that she can't even see it. And then I have these people who are constantly coming at me, calling her a queen, and she is this, and she's the queen of New Jersey, and she's the queen of Bravo. And I'm sitting there thinking, sweetie.
Did you not listen to what I said?
And even if you're not listening to me, what are you looking at? And then I wonder about just basic any person that looks at Teresa and it's sad to say, but really sees anything. I mean, people are like, oh, she's such a great mom. She's a mom. What? Like, why? Because she loves her kids? Because she loves her kids? Aren't we all? We all love our kids. I mean, like, why? What's great? Is she okay? Who wouldn't step up at every chance and help their kids? I mean, that's what we are. So she's a mother. Doesn't, that's what else? Tell me, what else?
She's a good cook.
Is she? We don't even know that. You know what? I also feel like people always forget the things that she's done. Like, what about the time when she had, what's her face, pull Marge's hair? She's like, yeah, pull her hair. I mean, Danielle. It's unbelievable. People are so, it's like they're under I feel like they're under a spell.
Yeah.
But maybe the world is just full of a lot of
Teresas.
Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. What a wonderful way to say it. The world is full of a whole lot of Teresas, and that is just fully surprised. It just constantly amazes me how many Teresas we have in the world.
Right.
Anyway, God bless them. Anyway, Boo, well, I've enjoyed spending this time with you. All right, we will see you soon. Do you have anything exciting happening the rest of the day?
We're going to watch a baseball game, Beverly's boyfriend's baseball game. So, and my mom's here. We filled the hummingbird feeder this morning, and
your mother is there.
She spent the night.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm pissed off you didn't bring her on the pod. Give Barb my love.
I know. I will. I told her. I said, I gotta go.
I love you.
I love you.
Have fun. Batter up.
Yep.
Bye, babe. Okay, Christy's gone, but we are back and we are heading over to Summer House, which Summer House, you guys, did you see it? There's just so much tension surrounding the whole Lindsay and Carl thing. Everybody wants to say something, but nobody wants to say too much. And everybody's just tiptoeing around, think about things, just saying all these like really just kind of light, generic things and not really getting in there because you want to say something, but you don't want to piss them off and you want to sound supportive, but you don't want to, you just really have to walk the line in this situation. Unbelievable. And then Carl takes Kyle out to the Corvette like they're going on a date. And he sits out there and he tells him that he wants him to be part of the wedding party. And Kyle goes, I'd be honored. Like he just thought he knew what was coming next. And then Carl goes, I'd like you to be the flower boy. And you could just instantly, he's like, flower. I mean, firstly, what the hell, a flower boy? To even call it a flower boy? You want to maybe call him a flower man? I mean, what sounds worse though, actually? But flower boy, you guys? to grown men, it just, I don't know. It sounded demeaning. It did. I mean, I would have given it a whole nother name, like flower assistant. I don't know, something. But Kyle was clearly bugged by it, and you could kind of tell when they all got together later. They all went to try on tuxes when they were back in the city. And after Andre walked in, because he came in from Italy to get his tux fit, he they're not there for 5 minutes, and Kyle takes him aside and is basically just crying on his shoulder about the fact that he feels slighted because Carl asked him to be this flower boy thing. He's like, no offense, dude, you could be a flower boy, but I have been, Carl's longtime friend. He was his co-best man. He was his officiant in his wedding. It is definitely a demotion. And it is true. I'm sure if Carl was left to his own devices, he would have asked Kyle to be a groomsman, but he said himself that it was Lindsay that didn't want it, especially after everything that, went down last year. You also saw in this episode Lindsay talk about the fact that she graded her sex life a 2.5, you guys, a 2.5. You're about to get married and you're saying your sex life is a 2.5. If that's not a red flag, I mean, I honestly, I don't know what greater red flag you need. You don't marry someone if your sex life is a 2.5. Something is clearly wrong. I think it's also hilarious watching Paige have empathy for Lindsay for the very first time, like ever. I mean, we've never seen that, but she is genuinely looking at Lindsay and feeling sorry for her. And I also love how insightful Paige is, because she is kind of, expressing that she thinks that everyone is quick to come to Carl's defense and side with Carl, kind of because of everything he's been through. Lindsay is an easy target, but that doesn't mean that she's the one that should be taking the brunt of all the shit. And I just think that it is great that Paige has the insight to see that just because Lindsay might be a loudmouth, it doesn't mean that she's wrong all the time. Then we have West and Sierra, you guys, who again are just my absolute favorite couple. And do you know that I have refrained from checking out their social media and seeing if I can spy them, just because in my heart, I really want to believe that they're like on vacation somewhere together, because I really think that they are such a perfect couple. We see them go on a drink date with Danielle and Jesse Solomon. They're all out together, and they're not together long before Jesse says to Sierra, hey, when are you going to have sex with my buddy? Because these two are spending a whole lot of time together, which, I mean, it's actually really beautiful. They are really getting to know each other before it becomes all about sex. But I kind of feel like that's the way it happens when you really kind of grow that foundation with someone. And then if you introduce sex and the sex is bomb, then too, if your sex is as good as all of the friendship foundation, then it's game on. And then I'm going to say right here and right now that I think those two will go the mile. At least the mile. I'm not sure how many miles, but at least the mile. Let's see what else. Oh, and then we have Paige throwing that. They're back in the Hamptons, and we see Paige throwing that adorable Italian dinner for everyone. I personally am a huge fan of Paige, but she said that Italy is where she loves to go with her family, and she thinks of those people there at the table with her as family, and so she wanted to do that for them. And to that we say, salut. I love Paige. Let's see, what else do we have? We have part 2 of Potomac, everybody, where we find out that Mia's new man, well, we call him new man, he's new to us, but clearly not new to her or Gordon for that matter at all. But we find out that Ink thinks that Jeremiah is his son, and that apparently he's even come over to their house and tried to remove Jeremiah from it because he really believes that that's his son. But I don't really understand how that could be, because Mia has made it very clear that she had IUI and she knows exactly whose son Jeremiah is, and that his daddy is indeed G. That is his dad. But Mia does say that she is with Inc. now, and that he had nothing to do with the actual split of her marriage. That was all just because of G and his erratic behavior and his controlling ways. But the divorce is on, and also the fact that she got a bunch of support from all of the ladies except Candace and Wendy. Neither one of them, offered her any. Giselle dove into the fact that she lost her dad. And then Wendy defended the fact that she didn't reach out about her losing her dad. And the reason why is because she said that when her mom was in the hospital, Giselle was talking shit about her mom, or saying that her mom was, hold on, I wrote it down, evil, saying that her mom was evil. But, and Giselle said, yeah, I did say that your mom was evil, but I had no idea at all that she was in the hospital when I made that comment. I mean, how is Giselle supposed to know that her mom was in the hospital? She didn't. But Wendy's making it out like she should have known, and what she did was the same thing, but it's not nearly the same thing. I mean, Wendy knew that her dad was dying. She knew that and still chose not to reach out. And yes, she may have made that off the cuff comment about her mom, but for all she knew, her mom was getting her nails done at that time. I mean, give me a break. Yeah, poor Giselle, really struggling with losing her dad. He was a sweet guy. We saw him a lot. We've seen him a lot over the years. Candace got emotional when Giselle was talking about her dad. She started crying. And I know everybody gives her shit for how much she cries, but I feel like Candace is just hypersensitive because of living with such a bitchy mother her whole life. Truthfully, poor Candace, she is just like a house of cards. She acts really tough, but she's not. She is soft as a marshmallow on the inside. She is the product of an abusive mother. That mother has been so hard on her, so critical of her, so judgmental of her. And that is exactly why Candace is the critical, judgmental, hypersensitive person that she is. She truthfully is. I don't think she's mean-hearted. I think she's just lost given her upbringing and the way that she looks at life because of her upbringing. I really do. I think her mother is to blame. She needs distance from her mom. She needs to find out who she is outside of her mother's constructs. But yeah, she treats people the way her mother treated her, and that's just a fact. Then they dive into her relationship with Robin, into Candace's relationship with Robin. And then the colorism of it all comes up. Robin clearly feels disgusted by such a disgusting accusation, and you can't blame her. Candace says that talking about race isn't uncomfortable for her, and she didn't realize that it was uncomfortable for them. And then Giselle and Robin both make it perfectly clear that they don't have a problem talking about colorism. They have a problem with Candace going online and saying that they are colorists. And let's be clear, there is a very, very big difference. Then they come back from break with the husbands, including Chris, but not including Juan, because Juan was nowhere to be found. Chris is so over the bullshit and all of the accusations about the Giselle situation and everything that happened last year. He is not interested in rehashing the drama, and he makes that very clear. Then the topic of absent Juan comes up, and everyone is clearly shocked that he is not there to support Robin. The same woman who does nothing but support him, right? I mean, truthfully, that's like Robin's other job, supporting Juan, but he can't show up and take the heat for his absolutely, I mean, abhorrent behavior this season. I mean, come on. He's been nothing but an embarrassment to her. And the way he tries to make excuses for himself and the way she tries to make, truthfully, I mean, what option does she have at this point? She's at that point where she's just gonna stand by her man until she doesn't. And so, at this point, doing nothing but bringing it up to her just seems frivolous. Okay, everybody, that about does it for our reality check. Now it is time for the personal development portion of the pod. And we are doing 6 things that you need to say goodbye to start living a life you love. Are you ready? Because this is the real important shit, you guys. Okay, number 1, letting go of your past, because the future that you see for yourself, truthfully, has nothing to do with your past. Everything that happened then was preparing you for what's next. So you don't have to obsess on it. You don't have to keep looking back on it, wishing that you had done things differently. Everything happened the way it was meant to happen, and you have to have faith in that. And that is exactly what will lead you to the life that you're looking for. So let go of the past. That is number 1. Number 2, check your expectations, because so many of us walk through life thinking that we know how it's supposed to be. We have these grand ideas, and we think that what we see for ourselves is like, the way that things should be. But what you don't understand is that there is a universe out there that, looks at your life in ways that you can't see. So sometimes the universe knows what you need to go through in order to prepare you for that vision of your life. And so you have to check those expectations and know that what you see for yourself might come, but you might have to go through all of these obstacles to get there. And don't get discouraged, because everything is happening exactly as it's meant to. Number 3, don't try to control everything, you guys. You have to just understand that all of these things are going to happen. You let them come, you let them go. Life is a series of shifts. And trust me, the more flexible you are, the less life hurts. Number 4, you have to let go of your desire for immediate results. Patience truly is a virtue. It is hard when you are young to think that you're ever going to get through this. But trust me, you will. You will get through this. There will come a time and you will look back on it and you will understand exactly why everything happened. Number 5, self-doubt. Listen, we all deal with it. Even those of us who have done all the work, we all get hit with self-doubt. That is part of the human condition. You can't avoid it. It's also part of our human curriculum, right? So when you feel that doubt, that is your invitation to get even more present. That is your invitation to dive deeper into yourself and breathe and reconnect with who you are, because that reconnecting with your spirit and grounding that is what will bring you peace. And the last thing that you need to let go of are people that don't look at life the way you want your life to look. You know what I mean? You need to surround yourself with like-minded people. So if you've been surrounding yourself with a bunch of negative Nellies who, who don't see the possibility in life and think that they're stuck, then you will take that energy on. You need to be surrounding yourself with people who inspire you, people who encourage you to look at the world in a more beautiful way, because the world is a beautiful place, and the world is as beautiful as your perspective about the world. And that is just a fact. Your perspective on the world changes everything. And the people that you surround yourself with affect your perspective. So make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people that supply you with light and positivity and things that make you feel good. All right? Because as long as you feel good inside, that's all that really matters. I mean, you create your own little environment inside of yourself, and that's where you spend the most time, right? So make sure that it's a good place to be, you guys. You wouldn't want to be locked in a room, right, with someone that you didn't like. You don't want to be locked in this body of yours with someone that you don't like. So you just make this, learn to love yourself, make this a positive place, make this a good, wonderful, little bubble for you to live in, a place where you can feel safe to come back to. You don't want to be hating yourself. It doesn't feel safe. You want to be loving yourself so that when the world hits you hard, you can come back here and this feels grounding. This feels good. Like when you breathe, you're like, there I am. Everything's going to be all right, because everything is all right. Trust that. And if it's not all right, then it's not the end. So everything's good. All right, everybody, that about does it for this episode of Generally Speaking. I've loved spending this time with you. Please do us a favor and share the pod. Tell your friends, tell your coworkers, put it on your social media. We would love that. It means everything to us. Please feel free to leave a comment, give us a 5-star rating. That would be so awesome. You can reach me at jennifer@jennifersnook.com if you'd like to come on and be a guest on Hello Caller. I would love that. If you'd like to reach me on social, you can find me on TikTok at This Is Generally Speaking, and you can find me on Instagram at the Jennifer Snook. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And until we are together again, stay rooted in love, everybody. All right. Take care. See you guys.